like Frisch's big boy or something. I don't know what you'd call that, but
Well, I mean, I laugh. I will never have those hair problems at all. I have not allowed myself the agency to have it. I'd have to grow my hair for a very long time, and then I'd have to probably flatten it down. And that is, even describing that sounds exhausting. I'm gonna be honest with you.
well, I
Yeah.
envy the close cropped hair because always having to comb and wash it and do all that stuff to it. I'm almost some days I'm just like just shave it off, do the full Professor X and the full Kojak, and just be done with it.
Would you do it?
I don't know, because Delvin, I don't know what's going on under this hair. Like I've never had since I was a baby. There's been hair there, so there could be divots in there, craters. Who knows what's going on? It could be another face. I don't know. We gotta see. I got to ease into that.
I guess we should probably get started with a show here. Let's see. We already got a first comment from Matt P saying close cut is the way to go. I absolutely agree. Like it is easier. Like I basically just have to worry about cleaning like my scalp and then like making sure it's moisturized. So like because you can get dandruff with this. I've figured out. I had to figure that out pretty late in life. Like I'd say within like the last 10 years or so ago, where I was getting my hair cut at this place called the Hair Cuttery, and there were nothing but ladies in the barber shop, and one ladies was saying like that my scalp was dry, and what did I clean my scalp with? And I was like, well, I just use like the 3-in-1 or whatever, like the body wash, and like the whole salon and you said no.
Look, they're all like, what?
And I was like,
it's quiet.
So I was shamed immediately into getting some proper shampoo and have been converted ever since then. So I guess we should probably start the show and not talk about hair tips. Are you ready over there, Jason?
Oh, I'm definitely ready. Yeah, let's talk about comics. People aren't here to hear about our hair, right?
Did you bring bottles this time?
No bottles. I didn't get the recycling in time, but I do have drinking glasses.
That works. Let's get it started. New Warriors come out to play. There we go. It's a show now. And when Jared watches this, by the way, he's probably going to like, see, he didn't bring bottles this time. Like, you need me back. And
at least they're made of glass as opposed to all the plastic stuff he kept bringing in for like the first like 20 episodes,
Oh yeah, we were a low rent production, and we upgraded to a slightly less than low rent production after that. I should
movie you'd be the Beastmaster, right?
Yeah. I should probably start somewhat. Well, I'm going to bring this question up from Courtney. First, Courtney, she didn't start. Not that question. This one. Courtney Holland did start off. She wasn't rude. She said, hi, Jason and Delvin.
Hi, Courtney.
Hi, Courtney. And then she asked, where's Jared? I will get to that. Give me 1 second, Courtney. Let me go up in the script that I swear I didn't just update now. Really. Welcome to Come Out to Play, a New Warriors podcast. I'm Delvin, a.k.a. The Dark Web. And if you're watching this on YouTube or whatever way you're listening, we would love for you to hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you very much. In case you're new to the show, welcome. Come play with us as we talk about Marvel Comics, The New Warriors. Now, to answer Courtney's question, that this is not Jared. This is Jason Lady. Jared is not here because he happens to be doing a good dad thing. His son, my godson, Jordan, turned 17 today. And so he wanted to spend time with his son. It's also, by the way, even though he's hadn't been on the show yet, I got to get him on. Pat Sampson, today is his 50th birthday. So it is quite an eventful day for the Longbox Crusade and our project. But rest assured, I got Jason. I said, Jason, would you like to come back onto the show? Jason said, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And if you want to, since you're taking Jared's place, you can ask me a question if you are so inclined to do so.
I am inclined. This time I actually thought ahead, and I do have a question in mind. And since this particular comic has a lot to do with evil twins, the dark version of oneself, Delvin, what would your evil twin's name be, and what would he be like?
Whew.
One for you.
Whew.
Is that too
Man.
heavy?
Oh no, not necessarily. I mean, or even if it was, I can keep it like I mean, we've joked about this on the podcast where like my evil twin will be named Nivlet, which is like my name spelled backwards. I think. Hold on. Yes, Nivlet. So that'd be a good evil twin name. And man, what would that evil twin be like? I think he'd be a pretty mean guy. Like,
yeah.
Like for them, he probably wouldn't smile that much. And he would like, hate teaching and instructing people stuff. And I guess, he would hate podcasting and absolutely would abhor reading comic books.
Right.
Would not like his mother, that's for sure. I'm a big fan of my mom. And so, yeah, like those would at least be some characteristics that an evil twin of mine, a mirror version of me, would have.
Gotcha. Okay. I would add one other quality. I think he wouldn't work out at all, because I think you work out all the time. He'd be a total slob.
Man, I got to stay active. Like I have to. If I don't, I would like, and I guess like since I'm constantly afraid of like, being bored. So I like doing stuff and being engaged. So yeah, like my evil twin would be far more of a slug. Absolutely.
He'd be more like me. Yeah. I wish I was more like you.
Oh, whatever. What about you? What's evil Jason? What's his name? What would he be like?
Ooh, well, to go with your theme, he'd be Nosaj, Nosaj, Nosaj. Yeah, same. He'd probably be really mean. He'd probably be hard to get along with. He'd be really rude. People told me, Jason, you're a very polite person. He'd probably be very rude. Be burping a lot and just being not saying hello, not saying please, all those kinds of things. And yeah, same thing. He would hate comic books. He would hate to read. And I write kids books. So he would probably hate children's books, and he would hate writing kids books. He would write books for adults, probably write adult like romance novels or, action thrillers or something, do something completely opposite, or nonfiction. He'd probably write nonfiction. That's about as opposite as you can get from what I do. So that's probably what Jason's evil twin would be like. Yeah.
Nice. Fantastic. And we already had some comments of like, from a comic full, welcome a comic full says, so would Nova be Avon? Possibly. He would fly door to door selling you makeup. It'd be a whole thing.
The Avon Core, Matt P says.
Oh man. And ma'am, you're of age, right? Did you have an Avon lady in your neighborhood?
Yeah, my mom was friends with her, in fact. Yep. Yeah, we did have an Avon lady.
Yeah, we had an Avon lady that was like around the block from us that my mom would get Avon products and stuff from.
We were talking about hair earlier. She cut my hair for a while. Actually, I go to her house and she'd cut my hair. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And the same lady, my mom stayed in touch with her over the years. After a while, she got the pink car. You know how you can earn the pink car after a while? Yep, she got the pink car. I wish I'd been around for it.
Just goes to show you hard work does pay off.
Yeah, absolutely. Good things come to those who work hard. Yeah.
Welcome to everybody in the chat. I see Scott O'Neill has joined us. Matt P. We've mentioned a comic full and Courtney. Kathy MVP is here as well. If I missed anybody, or you just
Sconeil's there.
Yeah,
I'm saying that right, or Scott O'Neill maybe.
Yeah, that's Scott. That is Scott O'Neill. Like I used to pronounce him Sconeil, but now I know him on a first name basis, so I can call him Scott.
Trey Black is there as well.
Thank you. I missed Trey. I knew it felt like I was missing someone. I missed Trey. Welcome, Trey. Sorry I forgot about you, my friend. And with that, come out to play is a chronicling of the 1990 series, The New Warriors. The first volume of New Warriors ran 75 issues. Jason and I are going to be covering this issue, and we're going to be rediscovering our love for the series. So grab your skateboards and bucket helmets. It is time to play. The issue we'll be covering today is New Warriors issue 27. Cover credits go to Mark Bagley and Larry Malstead. Is that for the? No, it's not for the last time. Next cover is Bagley and Malstead too, because it's a cool one of Turbo. I remember.
Yeah, that's right. Turbo's on it. Yep.
But we're running short of Bagley and Malstead
Yeah, we're coming to the end of the
I
road,
know.
as Boys to Men say. Yes.
All good things. Jason is bringing up the cover because Jared, in his fanciness, has the images from Marvel Unlimited. We don't have Marvel Unlimited. Jason has his comic book. I have my comic book. I'm holding out. I think
This
I
is
got
what you
Marvel
get.
Unlimited one time for like a year for my nephew.
Okay.
And they still hit me up with emails like, you should come back, join us. We have candy. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't like candy. I resisted so far. I'm still holding on to buying comic
Why are
books,
you
even though
resisting the siren temptation of Marvel Unlimited? Why are you resisting? Just
I
do it.
know.
Dive in. Dive in.
I know.
You know you want to.
I probably should. But for now, I'm holding fast for some reason. In any event, we should talk about the cover, right? So we showed it,
Absolutely.
so we'll do the favor. I'll hold up the cover,
Okay.
and Jason can talk about it.
Thank you. Because holding up the cover and talking at the same time, that is kind of hard to do. So the cover of New Warriors number 27, like Delvin said, it is by Mark Bagley and Larry Malstead. Derek Robertson is not doing the covers quite yet, although that will come, but we still have a little bit of Bagley there. You have the New Warriors logo in blue and white. You have, I think, most of the team in the in the corner box. I don't think you have Rage yet, but you have everybody else, and that might be the first time they've had everybody in the corner box, including Silhouette. So she's an official member now. And you have the two speedballs fighting each other. The dark speedball, also known as black ball, as we'll see, and our regular hero, Robbie, speedball. And the caption on the cover says, at the very top, the wildest Warriors story ever. And then another caption, you didn't demand it, but you got it anyway. Dark speedball is what it says. And I think that Dark Speedball looks sufficiently sinister and freaky. And it is a cover that makes you go, what's going on here? Dark Speedball? What's up with that?
What do you think about it, though? I mean, what does Jason Lady think about it?
Oh, I like it. I do like it. I think it's one that will draw the eye and make you wonder. It's kind of like that, what is going on here kind of factor, right? Like it makes you want to pick it up and just be like, of all characters to have an evil twin, Speedball, like where's this evil twin from? What's going on here? All that kind of thing. He's probably the most lighthearted character on the team. So what's his evil twin going to be like? All those thoughts, I think, come to mind when you see this cover, and it can't help but draw you in. And I do like the contrast between the two speedballs. One leaves a dark trail when he's bouncing, and the other one has like a pastel colored trail while he's bouncing. So there's definitely some differences between them if you look very closely. What about you?
I think it's a pretty good cover. I mean, Speedball is always fun, and then there's a dark Speedball. And of course, I think you may have mentioned it, maybe not, that here on the cover, or excuse me, the corner, that it says an Infinity War crossover.
Oh, yes, I did not mention that.
So, yeah, it's an Infinity War crossover, which I do appreciate that they didn't make it seem like it was you had to have it. They just said it's an Infinity War crossover. So, like, if you wanted to collect it and you had a curiosity about New Warriors, you wanted to pick it up, then cool. If not, cool. But I'd be interested in how much lead time that Bagley and Malstead had to come up with this cover. I mean, because you had to come up basically like an alternative version of Speedball. What would that look like? And so, went with opposite color hair instead of a blonde. It's a redhead. And then, the primary color is this dark blue instead of like the light blue. And then like he leaves a black trail everywhere. So, yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if you could do better or worse, right? With an alternate version of Speedball, or whether or not unless you're doing, I don't know, penance.
Yeah.
But right. So like, as long as you're coming with an opposite version of Speedball, like to match the costume, I think it's about as good as it can be.
Yeah. I'll point out that Dark Speedball has sharp teeth too. He's got those vampire things going, so he's
which adds to the freakiness, right?
Yeah.
I forgot about this part of Infinity War until I saw this, where a lot of the characters had to fight their doppelgangers, and of course when you fight the dark side of yourself, you learn something about yourself.
Yeah, something about your dark side. Yeah, the side of you no
Right.
one should see.
Yeah.
Probably should throw out there too for the people in the comments, if you have only seen Avengers: Infinity War the movie, and you go to read these comics, the Infinity War crossover from the early 90s, you're going to find some things in common. Thanos is there, the Avengers are there, the Infinity
Hmm.
Stones are there. That's about it as far as how they're
Yeah.
similar. Like Delvin said, this story has evil twins in it. It's got an evil version of Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock's a main character who he isn't in the movie at all. So there's a lot different there. So don't go there looking for an adaptation of the movie or the movie adapted from that, because very loosely based on that. Basically, the title alone and Thanos is around. Is really what it is.
Yep. Absolutely. Before we go to rate it, just a few comments that were funny. Matt P says, inside us all, there are two speedballs fighting for control. So true. So true. And Scott O'Neill says, I want just a couple issues with Bagley and Robertson. Bagley with the cover and Robertson with interiors. We were blessed with great artists in volume 1. Indeed, we were. Indeed, we were. And let's see. And just a comment we were talking about before, Comic Foil mentions, I'm old school and still love the feel of paper and turning pages. No digital for me. I do too. I remember Stan Lee making a comment like that. It's something about like, it's like touching a lady, touching a woman. That like, like, yes, it looks fine online, but you rather, yeah, I had to change that. I changed that to woman. I was like touching
Interesting. Okay.
maybe I should change that given our co-host here. Anyway, let's rate the book on a scale of 1 to 10 nightsticks. 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. I'll go first. Why not?
Sure.
I'm going to give it an 8. I think it's a good cover. Like, I mean, there's nothing for me saying that for me to rate it any less than an 8. I have to give Bagley credit for his creativity, and seeing as how Bagley came up with this cover, then you have to assume that he would have been drawing the interiors. So Bagley had to be the one that came up with this design, and then Derek went ahead and aped after it. So I'll give it 8. I'll give it an 8. What about you, Jason?
Yeah, I'll actually say a 7, just because I don't think it's a spectacular cover per se. It's only got 2 characters on it, one of which is a guy we're probably never going to see again. What gives it a 7 for me rather than lower, though, is that it does have that, like I said earlier, that what the heck is going on factor, that can kind of draw you in. It's well done. It's well composed. I just don't think it's like one of the better covers of this series that we've seen, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, I do agree. It's not that is I applaud it for its creativity, but I don't think it's one of the better covers. That said, so I agree with both parts of that. And a few ratings are coming in now. Courtney Holland mentions that she likes the blue and yellow combo. She gave it an 8. And a Comic Full says it's a 7. Bagley is great, but it's just characters bouncing around, no background.
Mm-hmm.
Matt P gave it a 7 as well, says he does enjoy it. There have been spectacular ones, and so just kind of suffers as a result. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to read Trey's because I've forgotten about him completely. I'm kidding. He also says very kinetic. See what I did there? But lack of background hurts it. So it's a solid 7. Thank you all for the ratings. I was going to ask you for them, but there's no need because you are an attentive and great audience, and we're grateful to have you.
They know what to do. They're veterans of our process, aren't they?
They are. And here are the credits for the issue. New Warriors 27 on sale date, July 28, 1992. Cover date was September 1992. Covered price, $1.25. Story was by Fabian Nicieza. Pencils were by Derek Robertson. Inks were Larry Malstead. Colors were Kevin Tinsley. Letters were Joe Rosen, and the editor is Danny Fingeroff. Thank you to Mike's Amazing World. And here comes the quickest synopsis that you'll ever want to see. The title of the book is called Dark Sides. It's Raging Speedball as we find out what happens to them and their doppelgangers in an offshoot of the Infinity War. See, that's it. It's quick.
Nice.
And not at all because, I just came up with it about 3 minutes before the show. No, we run a professional outfit around here.
That was streamlined. I appreciate that. You didn't waste any time with extraneous detail. You didn't need to,
No, it's almost like I only had about 3 minutes to write it. And so I had to go as quickly as possible.
As if you only had 3 minutes. As if, yes.
That was just an example. I mean,
yeah.
may or may not have happened. So
that would never happen in real life. No.
Yeah, like you were talking about yesterday, like not everyone needs to see how the sausage is made,
Yeah, right. It's just as well you don't.
So we should talk some highs and lows from the book. I think it's a pretty straightforward book. I'm going to go on mute and call for a second, and you can give me a high or low, and I'll be back to discuss it.
Yeah, sure. So as far as a high, I think you right off the bat have a great splash page. I'm going to try and show it. And you've got Speedball in motion. He's trying to deliver pizzas, as we find out, to all the superheroes who have gathered to fight Thanos. And he is hopping around New York City. He's got pigeons swarming him. He's freaking out. He's trying to deliver these pizzas on time. He's worried the Hulk's going to get mad if he's late. And it's a little bit of an unfortunate angle on Speedball. But I do love the perspective there. This is something that actually we didn't see that much with Bagley's art. But with Robertson's, we definitely do. And you'll see more of it later, where these really cool, quote unquote, camera angles that you see here. So this is a really cool one. And I like how it starts out with the story in motion, like Speedball is going somewhere trying to get something done. So I thought that was a very cool way to start.
Excuse me. Going somewhere, trying to get something. And a couple of interesting things. Yes, I mean, we're starting to see, of course, the differences between Derek and Bagley. I think somebody mentioned before about how great Bagley is with his camera, right? And how he shows certain views. Well, Derek has a camera as well. And in his case, if he wants to kind of show how Speedball is swashbuckling and, bouncing around the city, then he showed him at that crazy angle. I don't know if you remember some years ago, I think it was Bruce Springsteen doing a concert, and he does this slide into the camera like crotch first. That's what this was. This was his Bruce Springsteen moment, sliding crotch forward into the camera. But they got the pigeons, and so the pigeons were a nice touch to show how high he was up in the air. So that was cool. So there's that part of it, and then there was the simple fact that the heroes are hungry, and they sent Speedball from the New Warriors to get pizza for them.
Yeah, I wondered about that too. Like, you send the bouncing guy to get the pizza, he's not going to be able to bring it back. You have probably 17 other people that could probably fly or teleport there and get the pizza. They sent him to get it. Is it because he's the youngest guy and they're like, we'll send him, the rest of us don't feel like it? I don't know, but yeah, you feel kind of bad for him. It's like he's been set up to fail. Basically,
set up to fail. And then I was also going from the angle of they kind of treat it like him as like a do boy, right? And that's not cool.
No.
We're strategizing. So bouncy boy.
Yeah.
Go get us some snacks.
Yeah, we don't need you here for this part. You could go get the food for us. Yeah, that's a really good point. I didn't think of it that way. Yeah, poor Speedball. Gee. Well, and the other part of it is too, it's like, Reed Richards, I think, is fairly wealthy. Iron Man definitely is wealthy. It's like, couldn't they just get the pizza delivered? You don't have to be rich to get pizza delivered, right? It's like, why are you sending him out for it? What are you going to save? True. $10? I don't know.
Right. Yeah. That $10 may have set Reed back a few from,
right.
The pauper that he is, owning a building and whatnot.
Trade negative zone projector that he can buy, because he sprung for the pizza delivery.
Trey mentions it that it's an obvious snub. Thrash comments on it later in the issue. Which is true enough. Yeah, I'll bring up that page.
Yep.
Because not only it's a nice page, but before I bring it up, I guess we should talk about there was something kind of important that happened where Speedball interrupts a fight between
Rage and his evil twin and
Enraged, the doppelganger. And there was a funny moment where
Yes.
where Speedball knocks the crap out of the real Rage, and he was like, "Oh crap, I forgot I gave you a new costume."
Yes. And Rage is like, Speedball, you idiot. Like, that's not me. I'm me. That's what he
Right.
says.
So that was a funny part. And then
Yes.
the kind of serious part, I guess, where Rage was going against Enrage, and the fight kind of just suddenly ends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They kind of run
Because,
at each other and they
yeah,
fuse together. Yep.
yeah, they just fused together, and Rage absorbed Enrage, and it's like, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're going
That
to
was
talk
like,
about that in a second.
I'm not sure
And
that
that
happened with any
leads,
other evil twin. Yeah.
yeah, that leads us to a pretty
Mm.
cool splash page, if
Beautiful
you will.
splash.
Hopefully, most of this got in the camera of all of the Marvel, or not all of the, but a lot of the Marvel superheroes. I mean, back when Alpha Flight was more relevant to the Marvel universe back in '92. Hey,
Well,
boys and girls, Marvel Alpha Flight was a more relevant team back in the day.
kind of. They're not prominent. They're there, and that's actually the case in the main Infinity War series. I remember they're kind of like little people in the background, but they're never really doing anything prominent. But it's a nice snapshot of early 90s Marvel. You've got the Peter David X Factor, led by Havoc with the Multiple Man and Guido. And you've got the X-Men Blue and Gold teams. Remember that that era? So yeah, and then Smart Hulk. Hulk when he was like the
Yep.
Professor Hulk, when he was kind of fused Banner and him together.
Mm-hmm.
He wore clothes and wasn't the Hulk smash era. Something I noticed about this, though, you can see, I don't know if you can see it very well. Scott and Jean, some public display of affection there. They're kind of getting cuddly over in the corner. They're not really the people that normally do that. You don't really think of them being like, oh, let's hug, I thought that was a little odd detail, but hey,
And I guess these are the pages that the artists can show out. And and for Derek's credit, like, he drew a dang good splash page, man. I mean, you got the Thing sitting there in the front left corner looking all like rocky and cool. Didn't take any shortcuts there. Wolverine's looking distinctive. The only one I wasn't crazy about was Storm. For whatever reason, the eye pupils were just completely white, and that kind of threw me off a bit. But like that is being nitpicky when I can't draw a lick myself. There are a lot of really, really cool people demonstrated besides the new Warriors on that on that page. Moving forward, as Trey talked to, it was funny that Nova was bragging to the rest of the team that he was selected for like the space crew, and nobody else was.
I thought that was hilarious. He's being such a jerk, but it's really funny though too. He's like, did you get asked to go to space? Did you get asked to go to space? No? Oh, too bad.
And like, you could tell he was proud of it, but at the same time, you could tell he was being a jerk and like intentionally proud of, like, particularly like Namorita, whenever he was like, I'm gonna bop you one if you keep on going. So good moment.
She's like, do you want to get lost in space, Nova? Yeah, she's about to like deck him. And then Nova's like, Johnny Storm, Ben Grimm, my friends, let's chat.
Do you remember in Infinity War?
I'm sorry?
No, you're right about his past. And I was saying, do you remember in Infinity War if Nova had a even halfway decent part?
No, I mean, none of these heroes really do. It's the Adam Warlock and Thanos and the, Gamora, Pip the Troll, Drax. It's all their show, really. They come in and there's just a big fight scene with them, and they're all the evil twins. And that's about it. No one really does anything of significance, including Nova. Although he probably does better than they did in the Infinity Gauntlet, where Thanos turned him into a bunch of cubes and crushed him. So at least that didn't happen to him. So nothing that bad happens to him here, but yeah, for all the bravado he's putting out there, it's like, no, he didn't really do anything that was that helpful. But then again, no one else really did either. So,
yep.
I do like Night Thrasher's attitude during this scene too, where he's like, "I have better things to do. Why am I here? I need to go design my new armor. I got to do this. I got to do that." He's all just like bent out of shape and grouchy, and I'm there for it. I like it.
Well, and I can agree with them where they're like, okay, if you want us here, then why are you having us here and treating us like afterthoughts? Like
Yeah,
that's rude.
yeah.
Like
Their
we're
team was called
important
upon to
people.
send a guy out for pizza. You know.
Right. Right. Yeah. You sent my guy out for pizza, not involving me on the main decisions, but they did hint at the new costume, which, of course, at the time, New Warriors were sky high in popularity, and they
Mhm.
introduced that costume in Night Thrasher,
Yeah,
his own miniseries, issue
yeah.
one.
Oh yeah.
But we will get to see um, this costume coming up. I can't remember whether we see it next issue or not, but I know that we're going to get to see it coming up.
Yeah, he drops out of the book for a little while, and I think by the time he comes back, he might be wearing a third outfit by that point, the one where you can see his mouth and
Hmm.
got more of like the half helmet on.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah, going forward, I'll have to see when he does pop back in.
Scott brings up a good point that says they also just saved the world without any of these big heroes just 2 issues ago. Tough to go from that to pizza delivery.
Great
That's
point,
true.
Scott. No
That's
respect.
a great point. And that's life though. Sometimes you save the world, sometimes you have to deliver pizza.
Well,
No
it's kind
one
of the
has ever
classic.
said
No
that.
one, no one knew that they saved the world, right? Like, it's not like it was a big high-profile event like what happens with the Avengers and the Fantastic Four. They get all the credit for stuff, and teams like sometimes the X-Men and yeah, the New Warriors. Like, no one knows their exploits. No one knows what they did, unfortunately. So, no credit.
That's true.
Yeah.
So this the last that we see of the majority of the Warriors,
Hmm.
and we really are down to Rage and Speedball, and really more Speedball than anything. So
Yeah.
let's talk Rage, since we suck a pin in that, and Rage kind of seemed to have a little bit of crisis of conscience.
Yeah.
If anything, based off of the vague memories that I have of the issues to come, it
Hmm.
seems like more of a precursor than anything. Would you agree with
Hmm.
that?
Yeah, I think it's hinting at things to come because reading this, I'm like, it's all like I absorbed my evil twin. That's because I already have the darkness inside me and I've come to terms with it. And I have all this rage inside me. And I'm like, at least in this comic, in this series so far, he's been a pretty mild mannered guy. He hasn't, had any explosive temper tantrums. When you compare him to, those team members like Wolverine, and
Mm-hmm.
people that would go berserk sometimes and be really aggressive. He had some of that in the Avengers, especially when he first popped up. But once they found out he was a kid, he was always kind of just this mild mannered, a little more mild mannered than New Warriors he definitely has been. So it's a little out of left field to me that like, oh, he's got all this darkness in him. So, I think that's a good point, Delvin. I think it's like a preview of what is to come later.
Well, also remember that, I mean, he didn't come from much. And
Mhm.
I mean, just
Yeah,
monetarily. Definitely not speaking to the quality of his grandmother who raised him.
sure.
But like, so he didn't have his mom and dad growing up. His grandmother had to raise him. They
Mhm.
weren't extraordinarily rich. And then all of a sudden, how does Rage get his powers? He like fell into a chemical something, something, or something.
After some bullies chased him. Yeah. Bullies chased him and I think
So
he fell in. Yeah. So he had a lot
yeah,
going against him.
yeah, so did that, then turned into this big hulking beast, which
Yeah.
on one side is cool, but on the other side, now grandma has to feed a guy that could eat like, an army.
Yeah.
So there has been some darkness in
Mhm.
Elvin's
Sure.
past. And I guess to me, what he was kind of saying is like, do I give in to that dark side? And for now, the answer is,
Mhm.
well, no, I
Yeah.
will not give into that dark side. I do have it. I'm aware of that.
Mhm.
I've faced my demons before. This just simply isn't who I am as a person, and so I can move forward.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. Yeah, that kind of resolves and speaks to a lot of the things that I was wondering about was like, huh, we never really seen this guy do that before. But yeah, I like that where he's acknowledging that yes, I have this under control, but I do have this side of me. Yeah. No, absolutely. Um, we didn't talk about his new costume at all. This is the
No, we
debut of a
didn't.
new costume for him. I think someone in the comments called that out. So just real quick, what do you think of it compared to his
Good
old getup?
question. Good question. I think
Gone,
it's good.
gone is the
Like,
luchador mask. Gone is the leather vest.
let's see if I can, if
Trying to,
I'm missing the page in the
trying to find a
comic book
good
where it's
picture of it.
introduced. Oh,
Yeah.
that's because I already passed it.
Yeah.
Let's see if
Right
there's a
here.
good drawing of it. This is
Yeah.
a good
Right.
drawing of the helmet.
Yeah. That nice close up of the helmet, golden helmet with a triangle on it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And that triangle kind of becomes a theme of the Warriors.
Mm-hmm. Becomes like a
Just not yet.
team
And
symbol.
this is a good action shot of Rage punching his twin, his dark twin, Enraged.
Yeah. And
Let me
interestingly,
uncover it with my hand there.
Enrage just has red eyes and sharp teeth. That's really it. Other than that, he looks exactly the same as Rage's old look. You know.
Yeah, yeah, he looks. They turned him into more of a gladiator type look.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, I said gladiator, and sure enough, Scott O'Neill says it was better than the luchador mask, but I still didn't like it a little too American Gladiators. So go figure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. You found that right towards the end of the
Yeah.
book. First, Derek Robertson gets credit because that's a great picture of Rage. And like that is, I don't know, something about like you could tell like he had to undo a button for like it all, but it kind of revealed another triangle.
Yeah.
The green and gold, I think it's okay. It's not the greatest to me. And I know that he has other revisions of his costume. Just a little bit of Rage talk in the chat. I already mentioned Scott's. A comic foil mentions green and gold doesn't seem to work for Rage. Reminds me a little too much of Hercules.
I agree.
I can see that. Matt P says not a big fan of the helmet. Got to stick with the lucha mask. So he just wasn't a fan of the helmet. He liked the mask instead. Even though, that said, like, how many people who is he going to fool in a lucha mask, right? Like, if I put on a lucha mask, you'd be like, okay, Delvin, take off the mask. No,
where'd Delvin go? Yeah, where'd Delvin go? Yeah.
What are you talking about? I'm El Giant guy.
There's a guy that sounds like Delvin with a lucha mask on.
Okay, fine, it's me. Yeah. And just one more comic foil mentions. Just talking about Rage, learning to control your emotions, particularly anger, is a sign of maturity. Moving away from Rage being portrayed as a child in the Avengers and more on par with the New Warriors. So just turning the dial a little bit on the age, just with the maturity wink and a nod. So good observation. And you're about to say something, Jason?
Yeah, I was going to say it's pretty telling that later Rage does revert back to the original costume. He makes some appearances, I think, in the Initiative. He makes some appearances in the Falcon series, I think. Falcon or Captain America. Sam Wilson as Captain America. And he makes some appearances, and he's back in the old costume. So I think that kind of tells us something, that maybe that original look was, maybe what everybody really liked and not so much these later designs, which is too bad because I think this Robertson design is actually pretty good. Might be a little busy, though. And the color scheme could be mixed up a little bit, but yeah.
I can see getting tired of maybe drawing the helmet too.
Yeah.
Maybe, just maybe.
It's a very busy costume. It's got a lot of details and doodads and weird shoulder pads. That's a lot of fussiness you got to draw.
Yeah. And then this means a lot of fussiness that you have to ink, just, keeping Jared in mind there. And Courtney mentioned when you said Rage, I thought immediately about Rage Against the Machine. I don't know if Rage had any, if that's where, did Fabian create Rage? No, he did not.
No.
He was a borrow from the Avengers. Was that Gruenwald?
Larry Hama. Larry Hama created him. Paul Ryan drew him. And Larry Hama had a really short little Avengers run in the early 90s, and Rage made his debut then. So as far as I know, Hama created him.
Gotcha. Well, we have talked Rage. The other half of the story would be Speedball. Speedball had a little bit going on in this book.
He does. He gets called away because I think he hears of a disturbance happening in his hometown, the suburb, which name escapes me, the town that he's from. Springfield or
You keep talking, I'll look it up.
Springdale. Springdale is where it's.
Springdale.
Yeah. So Speedball's arriving in Springdale. Another great angle. You can see the street below him and the neighborhood and the police cars and some of the houses are on fire. But another great like camera kind of tracking him as he's bouncing in. Great shot there. I love that art. And yeah, there's someone who is wrecking the neighborhood, and everybody's like, "It's you doing it, Speedball." And he's like, "It wasn't me. I didn't do it. What's going on?"
And it wasn't him. And then, like, not only does he have to deal with that part of, an identity crisis, he also has to deal with the fact that, like, when he, sort of went propelling into a house trying to avoid the bullets, he wound up getting basically, told, come out and put your hands up by none other than his father.
Yeah, which is a nice twist. Although his dad is a district attorney, I think. I don't know how many of those go out with a bullhorn, and are yelling at criminals. So, but let's not examine that too closely. Springdale's understaffed. Maybe he had to do it that day. But yeah, he's confronted with his own father, who I think at this point is the only New Warrior parent that doesn't know his kid's secret identity. I think all the others know. All the other parents know, but Speedball's dad. So he's in for a shock in this story, right?
Yeah. We can skip to that very quickly just because you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Do you have any big thoughts on that? I'll give mine real quick. I what I like from it the best is it showed a little bit of the maturity of Speedball. Because Speedball around issue 1 was kind of like, okay, nope, I can't tell mom and dad about this. This is my escape. And now, and as Scott mentions, Speedball's dad hates vigilantes too. Yep. Speedball's dad does not like vigilantes. And so he wanted to hide that secret from him. But once his dad found out, it's like, oh, you found out? Well, this is me. Like, mom wasn't too pleased about it either, but I'm not going to stop doing it. I am not ashamed of who I am and what I'm doing. So you're just going to have to deal with it.
Yeah. He's basically like, what can you guys do? Mom found out a few months ago and she wasn't thrilled about it, but hey, here I am still doing my thing. And he says, basically, Dad, you're going to have to deal with this. Otherwise you're going to lose me, as your son. And he bounces away, which, yeah, I mean, talk about hardcore. I mean, he's the youngest member of the team, maybe besides Rage. And he is standing up to his dad like that, not easy thing to do. So yeah, shows a lot of maturity, a lot of growth, a lot of strength of character. He doesn't get credit for being kind of a goofball, but it's in there. They've shown that over and over again in this series.
And it's also good to mention a couple comments real quick. Comic Full mentions Derek Robertson really came on strong with the issue. His Speedball is dynamic as heck. 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
And Trey says that was the main conflict of Steve Ditko's original backup run in Spider-Man. His conservative superhero hating dad and his free-spirited actress liberal mom. So very clearly Fabian did that reading and continued along with that storyline because we got to see his mom as the actress still going to her causes, which led her to Forces of Nature. Very, very good point, Trey. Let's see.
You're right, though. He continued that continuity. Plus, Springdale being this kind of like, I think Speedball describes as a father knows best, leave it to Beavertown, and continued that too. So Fabian clearly did his homework and brought all that in.
Yep. And a comment by Scott that says the panel layout on that page is amazing. The panels are off-centered, and so many of the panels show the dad on one side of the broken wall and Speedy on the other. Broken family symbolism. Fantastic observation.
Never noticed
comments like that absolutely make it. Is there anything? I guess there's one other point I wanted to bring up about, or two actually, about Speedball. One, he demonstrated his powers in a couple of really cool ways.
Yeah, there's a couple of things he does here. Yep.
Yeah, one of them, he was getting shot at by a hail of bullets, and he took all of the bullets and absorbed them. He extended his kinetic field out and he absorbed the bullets. That was pretty cool.
Pretty
And
cool power. Yeah.
because he could have simply just like bullets don't hurt Speedball.
Mm-hmm.
They just bounce off of them. But he's like, well, they don't even realize that they could potentially be harming themselves. I have to protect them. And so he used his powers in a protective way, which was very, very, very cool.
You can see the bullets, they're falling down on the ground in front of his dad and the police, who were just astonished, like, whoa, what just happened? But yeah, that was cool. It shows his morality, like he's thinking about, you know, the safety of the people around him. And yeah, really cool use of his powers to kind of kill the momentum of something. I liked it. I like that revelation that he could do that.
And well, did you want to speak anything else to his powers since I happen to bring that up?
Yeah, so the way he defeats Black Ball or Evil Speedball, Dark Speedball. So first off, I think we need to show everybody what Dark Speedball looks like if they don't know. We got to show off this because Robertson does a really nice job. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
Freaky.
Looks like Carrot Top.
Yeah.
Like if there are a need for a dark speedball in a movie, Carrot Top would be a good choice.
Yeah, him or one of those trolls, right? Those trolls with the hair that stick up, you know? But yeah, really creepy looking. And Robertson also does this splash page with this this giant picture of him. And look at that. Look at that with the fangs and the giant mouth and everything. Like, yikes.
Yeah.
Pretty freaky looking.
Yeah.
Scary. So as far as the other use of Speedball's powers, though, so Speedball goes to his house, finds his mom is being threatened by Dark Speedball, and they fight a little bit. They tussle a little bit, and Speedball basically gets mad and says, you know, you're not going to defeat me and take my place. Basically, you're a sick, pathetic piece of me, a piece I don't like. I refuse to accept it. And he blows Dark Speedball away. Look at that. So a giant kinetic energy blast. Boom. And turns him into just a pile of goop. That's pretty much what happens to Dark Speedball. So it didn't last very long at all. No. But yeah, we've never seen him do that either, where it's just this like this giant blast that goes out like that. So
yeah,
really interesting.
So he controlled his kinetic field in a couple of ways. He used it as a defensive weapon and he used it as an offensive weapon.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. No, good observation there. So yeah, I like that. You know, he has this like allegedly really uncontrollable kind of silly power, but there's some really cool things he could do with it. We're seeing that as the series goes on. But I like that Fabian isn't doing all that in the first two issues. Like slowly but surely, we're getting these revelations, and I love that.
Yep. And let's see. I think we talked about most of it. And Speedball was only just a little bit worried. I thought Scott had a good observation. I'll read it. It just says Dark Speedball is also likely a manifestation of how Justin Baldwin, Robbie's dad, sees costumed heroes like Speedball. So there's that. It seemed that Speedball was a little bit worried at the end. I wouldn't say like 1 to 10, I'd give it lower than 5, but he was somewhat concerned that in order for him to beat that part of himself that he had to become it, and he wasn't too comfortable or happy with that.
Yeah. So unlike Rage, who kind of absorbed it, accepted it, Speedball said, I deny you. Boom, blew him away. So kind of different reactions to their evil twin. Matt P in the comments says Speedball's making Gideon proud. That's what made me chuckle a moment ago. Yeah, because Gideon was able to use Speedball's powers better than himself. So good stuff.
And I'll read one last comment from Scott, and that is just, and like Speedy's comment to his dad in issue 7, the Avengers never see behind the act to who he really is. They see him as pizza delivery, but he shows how capable he really can be here.
Yeah, good point. Yeah,
great point. Absolutely really fantastic point. And I think we have discussed this probably more thoroughly than I thought we were going to. I thought it was, in a sense, a cut and dried issue, but there are a few things a few layers that we brought up. So I'm happy that we got to discuss that. let's
I just
discuss. What's that, Scott?
I was gonna say, just probably would add just one thing. There's a nice spotlight here on Speedball and Rage's friendship. They act like two, younger teenage boys. They rag on each other at the beginning, like, "Oh, you got
Yeah,
kicked out of the Avengers. The Avengers would never let you in." It feels very real to me. The banter
yeah,
between the two of them. And I like it. The two youngest guys on the team kind of forming this bond. I think it's really cool, and look forward to see
yeah.
where it goes.
Yep, yep. That's a good point. They have kind of developed a
Mhm.
good buddy duo there
Yep,
within the
absolutely.
team. All right. We do two segments here: Ultimate Warrior and Ultimate Worrier. And
Mhm.
just real quick, the Ultimate Warrior is where we talk about the warrior that was distinguished in the book, either himself or herself in the book. Who do you have as the Ultimate Warrior in the book, Jason?
I have Rage. Not just because he debuts a new outfit, but really because of him. He's the only hero that faces his evil twin in Infinity War and like absorbs it and is able to contain it, basically. Strength of will, accepting the dark side of himself rather than denying it. He'd be my candidate for Ultimate Warrior.
I will take Speedball then. Rage, everything you said about Rage was absolutely true. And I think Speedball, um, mainly because, like, first he had the great instincts to go and protect his city and protect his mom, who is very important to him. And then he used his powers to protect, which were awesome because his powers are kinetic energy, which is mainly action and movement, but he used that to protect, which was awesome. And then he also used it to attack when need be as well. So he demonstrated a maturity in his powers that is something that was missing in some of the previous issues with Speedball. Just like you mentioned, he's growing and developing, and that was brought forth a whole lot in this issue.
Mhm.
Matt P mentions, and I'm sure they're going to roll in if someone else wants to comment on who the Ultimate Warrior is. Courtney Holland says Rage. Matt P says the Warrior was Speedball. He really showed what he could be if people just give him a fair chance.
Mhm.
And while more comments come in, I'll ask the question: who is the Ultimate Warrior? Who are you worried about moving forward in this book, if anyone?
For me, Speedball, the complete opposite of you. And I think because, his dad's found out his secret identity, his dad's not happy about it, what's going to happen here? I mean, I know because I've read the whole series many times, but, reading this for the first time, you kind of wonder, okay, what's going to happen next? Because, Marvel Boy didn't have a good, ending with his father, what happened with all
Mm-hmm.
of that. So it's like, okay, you got another
Mm-hmm.
angry dad going on here who's pissed about his son being a superhero. What's going to happen? Justin Baldwin's never been abusive to Robbie, but you can't help but worry a little bit. So that's my candidate for Worrier.
So for Warrior, I'm going to go with just the team in general. We've gone two issues so far, and they made a hint to it at the start of the book where Rage was like, well, you guys didn't invite me to Fantastic Four. And he's like, yeah, we kind of dropped the ball a little bit on team communication since
Yeah.
Thrash and Cord aren't holding the team
Hmm.
together. So
Yeah.
the question is, how is this team going to come back and gel together as a team and start fighting
Mhm.
and having adventures again as a team after such ground shaking events that happened in issue 25? So I'm a little bit worried about the team as a whole and its dynamic.
That's a good point because Thrash and Cord brought professionalism, to the team, to the Enterprise,
Mm-hmm.
and without them, yeah, they're kind of fumbling around a bit. So, yeah, that's an excellent point.
Few more comments before we go to the ratings. A comic foil says, I think Speedball gets both Ultimate Warrior and Worrier. He was phenomenal in utilizing new powers effectively, but also emotional over the stress of what his family is going through, highs and
Hmm.
lows.
Yeah.
Um, Scott says Warrior is Nova. After that page about going into space, I think Thrash might drop him off of a taller building. Courtney Holland says the Warrior was Rage, and that she is still worried about Night Thrasher.
Hmm.
And Matt P mentions the Warrior was the pizza delivery guy that missed out on getting that big money pizza tip from the heroes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
man, you better know if you came to that door. It was like, I need a tip. I want you to give me lots of money.
Right.
And then Reed probably oblivious with him like, I have something that can fix that cough for you.
Yeah. Here's a device that
You'll
I have
never
on
cough
side.
again in your life.
Right. Probably will get stiffed, right? Yeah. Completely. Superheroes are bad tippers.
Superheroes are bad tippers, but I don't think we're going to rate this thing too badly. 1 to 10, Jason. What would you rate New Warriors 27?
Yeah, I don't think it's one of the most spectacular issues of the series. Obviously we've had some other highs, from this series that are higher than this. But I would give it an 8. Fantastic art all the way through for an Infinity War tie-in. It was good. I don't think the story was obtrusive. Fabian used the big crossover to tell things about his characters and put the spotlight on particular 2 characters who don't get the spotlight a lot, even in this comic, very much. So Speedball and Rage both got, a lot of character development, and they both got, a lot of time, a lot of page time. So, for me, I would say this issue is an 8.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that 8. I think that last issue mainly focused on Marvel Boy, and you had Firestar and a little bit of Nova.
A little bit of Nova and Namorita.
Yeah, a little bit of Namorita, and this one focused on Rage and Speedball a little bit more. And I like that those characters kind of got the main crux of the book just to develop their characters a little bit more, because they're both important warriors and they're going to play an important role in the future. So it was a good opportunity for Fabian to go ahead and make sure that they were integrated and exactly why they're integrated. So,
yeah, especially with Thrash. I think he's about to take some time off for his miniseries. I don't think we see him for a little while. So, Rage and the others have to kind of fill the void, left behind by him.
Yep. A couple of ratings that have come in. Comic Foil gave it an 8. Said very entertaining. Focused look on 2 underappreciated characters. And Matt P says a good character building and the angles on the art give it a great action feel. I'm already liking that, like in my memory, and it's probably just me pouting about Mark Bagley not being on the book at the time. But it's cool to see that Derek already has started to make the book into his own. And you can tell that he is not trying to draw like Mark Bagley. He is drawing very much in his own inimitable style. And it's already starting to show, and it only gets better from here. So much to look forward to with the artwork of Derek Robertson.
Absolutely. I used to look forward to this every month so much, partially because of the art. Yeah.
Probably about a year or so from now, like that was like where I was like, it was at the top of my read pile, or I was picking it. Could not wait to pick it up and read the Misiesa Robertson run of Warriors. That was really when I came into my own. Couple more ratings before I go to the ending. Courtney gave it an 8, said it kept her interest, and thanks for coming and being with us, Jason Lady. So
thank you, Courtney. Good to be here.
Courtney is an awesome human being.
Thanks to you for being here.
And Scott says 10. This comic and that page, the showdown between Speedy and his dad, saved my life as an 11 or 12-year-old kid. So, man,
these characters meant a lot to teenagers and middle school kids. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fantastic comment. No, see, did I miss anything else? Oh, nope. Let me go ahead and close this out. I don't want to keep us too long. That's the show, everybody. Please come back and join us for the next episode where we discuss New Warriors 28, where we bring 2 new characters into the fray, Turbo and Cardinal. But who's the good guy? Okay, it's Turbo. Turbo's the good guy. I'll spoil it for you.
You don't really hide it, at all in that story, so it's okay.
No, not at all. If you like to hear more from us, the Longbox Crusade, we're everywhere, y'all. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon. If you look for Longbox Crusade, you can find us. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and most podcatchers, to include Spotify. If you'd like to join us on our crusade, $1 a month on Patreon will get you access to the Crusaders Club. And y'all, we give out a lot more than that $1 is worth. We would love for you to come along with us. We're always looking to add more members. and we read your name off, on every podcast every recorded podcast that we do. YouTube, I mentioned before, please subscribe. Both recorded and live content lies within. We would love to get those numbers up. So please subscribe if you have not. Please like this live stream if you have not. And we appreciate it. You can also email us at contact@longboxcrusade.com. We normally have a phone number scrolling across the bottom. I'm not digging it up. It's 707-532-5269, 707-532-LBOX.
That's a lot to say, man. Sorry, I'm not helping out.
Oh no, it's all good. I'm mainly trying to keep myself from coughing. And yeah, that was it. And I can stop talking now because Jason's going to start. First of all, Jason, thank you for coming in to pinch hit.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, but if you got anything to promote, now's the time.
Sure. I am the author of 3 middle grade books. They're fantasy books called The Magic Pen Adventures. Each one's about a different middle school kid who gets a hold of a magic pen. Everything they draw becomes real. There's monster problems, super problems, and time problems. They are, if you know kids that age, or if you are young at heart, you will love these fun, absurd adventures. And they are available on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, everywhere else online where books are sold. Thank you.
And I can't help but mention Matt P says, got you guys everywhere, but need to add you on Instagram and Patreon soon, man. We would love to have your membership. Absolutely. Thank you for that. And you can find me on Twitter, DE_RAY1977, and on Instagram, Delvin Ray, DELVINRAY. That is the show, everybody. See you all next time. And remember, please be a hero to someone, even if it's just to yourself. Until next time, New Warrior. Come out to play. Good night, everybody. Y'all be safe.
Thank you.